Now we have learned that after stratum granulosum the cells are dying. So in lucidum the cells are already dead and they do not have the nucleus. And this is the thickest layer on the palms and the soles of the feet. So this layer is mostly looking translucent, hence the name lucidum. The last layer is the stratum corneum. As the layers near the surface become a part of the stratum corneum, the outermost visible layer of this epidermis. So the stratum corneum is the one which we see. It is the outermost layer. It is also called as the horny layer because the cells are toughened like an animal horn, and it is made up of 10 to 30 thin layers of these dead cells. They are also arranged in brick and mortar fashion, and these bricks are made up of keratinocytes, and the mortar of lamellar granules are made up of lipids and proteins. So this outermost layer give way to the tear and wear and are replaced by new layers of strong, long wearing cells which are being produced at the stratum basale and are pushed up. So it takes around 28 days for the stratum corneum to be completely replaced. So generally we see that we give ablative procedures after a month or 1.5 month duration of period. So every session is repeated after this duration. The replacement again gets slow along with the age as the process slows down. When the stratum corneum cells are being lost after sunburn, they are quickly replaced from below. But if they are injured, they are dramatically speeded up. The repair process is speeded up. Therefore, artificially removing of the outer layers by peeling or exfoliation by microdermabrasion, it tends to speed up the replacement. This stratum corneum is also acting as a protective barrier for transepidermal water loss. It is a protective barrier. It does not allow water to get lost from the epidermis. As the skin, this layer contains about 15% of the water and the body contains about 70%, out of which 15% of water is in this layer. Now this water 15% is needed to function for the skin to function properly. Now if the content is below 10%, the skin cannot function properly. It will look dehydrated and the filaggrin and amino acids will break down to make up a substance called as natural moisturizing factors, which play a role in the hydration and suppleness of the and flexibility of the skin. Now, the lipid or the fat contents plays a vital role in healthy normal skin as they help the skin to regulate natural water loss by forming an acid mantle or hydrolipid barrier. If they are removed by harsh soaps or detergents or by damage such as a burn, the skin will lose the ability to retain water, will become dry and will start to break down. Now the acid mantle plays an important role in also maintaining the pH and the balance of the skin. So we see that we do not use soaps with higher pH. That will cause dryness of the skin because it will tend to break down the acid mantle and the skin to dry. The products have to pass through this layer for the action to take the effect on the skin. External pressure on this stratum corneum will cause corns or calluses. There will be thickening because of the friction and corns and calluses are formed. So we understand that the epidermis is important in cosmetology as patient complains of rough and dull skin. A well hydrated epidermis and a more supple epidermis will be more radiant and youthful. So let's go to the next layer, which is the dermis layer. Now the dermis layer is the second layer of the skin. As we know, it is lying just below the epidermis. it is the sandwich layer between the epidermis and the hypodermis. Now this is the thickest layer of the skin. The dermis lies just below the epidermis and it is 1.5 to 4 millimeters thick. Now the thickest layer is at the back, palms and sole, and the thinnest is at the eyelids. It is also the home to most skin structures. Now the dermis this is the only layer which is having sweat glands, oil glands, which secretes oil, sweat on the skin through through pores or comedones. It also has hair follicles, nerve endings, blood and lymph vessels. But the main component of the dermis is the collagen. The dermis is intimately connected with the epidermis. The dermis is also a tough supportive connective tissue matrix containing numerous specialized structures, which we mentioned just now. Now the dermis is also consisting of two layers, which is the papillary dermis and the reticular dermis. So this is all what we have learned during a medical course, but now this is just a brushing up, so that when we go further we understand our treatments meticulously. Now the dermis is responsible for the thickness of the skin actually. It also plays a key role in the cosmetic appearance of the skin. Now the thickness varies, as I told you, in different parts of the body, and it also doubles in age between 3 and 7 and again at the puberty. But as you start aging, what will happen? The thickness will decrease and also the moisture content. Now let us go to the papillary dermis. The thin upper layer, which lies directly below the epidermis and interdigits between the epidermal retiridges. This is the papillary dermis. Now this is composed of loosely interwoven collagen. The collagen bundles are smaller with great cellularity and higher density of vascularity. Second layer is the reticular dermis, which is the lower thicker layer. The reticular dermis is made up of coarser and horizontally running bundles of collagen. Now, the collagen fiber is making up 70% of the dermis, and it gives structural toughness to the strength. Elastin fibers are also loosely arranged in all directions, and this gives what? Elasticity to the skin. So when you pull the skin, it relapses back to its own form because of the elastin fibers. And the tautness which you have in the skin is because of the collagen. Now these are elastin are the most dense where near the hair follicles and also around the sweat glands, and it's less in the papillary dermis. In addition to this, the dermis contains fibroblast. Now what does the fibroblast do? It synthesizes collagen, elastin and other connective tissue and GAG. Again it has dendrocytes, which is forming the dendritic cells, and also manages with the immune function. It also has the dermis also has mast cells, which is related to immune cells, macrophages also, which is involved in which is also known as the scavenger cells, and a phagocytic cell, which engulfs the foreign particles or the organisms that come into the skin, and it destroys it. Dermis also contains lymphocytes, which are also immune cells. So as I said, collagen is a tough insoluble protein produced, which is also found throughout the body and is a connective tissue that hold muscles and organs in place. In the skin, collagen supports the epidermis, lending to its durability and the strength. So the tautness, I said, comes through collagen, and the elasticity comes through elastin. Elastin is a similar type of protein which helps in the skin flexibility. So it allows the skin to spring back into the place when it is stretched. The properties of collagen and elastin fade with age. giving rise to wrinkles and the sagging skin. The last layer is the subcutaneous layer, which is also called as the hypodermis. It is the deepest layer of the skin. It is missing in the parts where the skin is especially very thin, like the eyelids, nipples, genitals, and the shins. Subcutaneous tissue acts as an insulator. It conserves the body heat and as a shock absorber by protecting the internal organs from injury. Since it has a layer of fat, it acts as a shock absorber. It stores fat as an energy reserve, and in an event extra calories are needed, it supplies the power to the body. The blood vessels, nerves, lymph vessels, and hair follicles also cross through this layer. This layer contains collagen 1, 3rd, and 5th. So the epidermis is the largest of the topical products because most of the products do not penetrate to the dermis. The dermis is the target of many injectable treatments. So in the epidermis we use all the topical products, and for dermis we have to use injectables. The dermis is also responsible for giving the thickness to the skin and suppleness. The inner thinner dermis and an altered DEJ is the hallmark of the aged skin. So skin typing is important to identify different types of skin in different areas over the world. European skin differs from African skin. African skin differs from Indian skin. So the way we treat or handle each skin type differs. So let's go through the differentiation of different skin typing. So the first type is the pale white skin, which is usually seen in the Russian types. Now this skin always burns, but it never tans. So when it is exposed to sun, it will burn, it will never tan. So these skin types usually are prone to skin cancers, squamous cell carcinomas and all. The second type is the white skin type, which burns easily and even tans, but very minimally. The third skin type is the white skin type. This is an average white, which burns moderately, tans gradually to light brown. Now the beige or lightly tanned, which can be seen in Indians also, in the northern Indian side. Now that burns minimally, always tans well to moderately brown. Now the moderately brown or tan skin, which is seen in mostly Maharashtrians or areas near or Asian type, which rarely burns, tans profusely to the dark type. Now dark brown or black color skin never burns but gets deeply pigmented. So now these are the types of skin. So from white to the brown. So accordingly we treat them or handle those skin while we use the lasers and different peels. Now the photo aging group types are different type of classification. Now the first group in photo aging is the mild photo aging, which ranges from 25 to 35 years of age, where there is no keratosis, no scarring or very minimal scarring and very minimal of wrinkling. There is little or no makeup necessary to be put on to hide this photo aging. The second type of photo aging is the moderate aging type, photo aging type, which occurs within 35 to 50 years of age. Now there is early or fine lines, fine wrinkling appearing on the face. There is also mild scarring seen, mild discoloration, sunspots, blemishes, and you need to have a little makeup to cover this up. The third Photoaging is the advanced photoaging seen between 50 to 65 years of age, where there is lot of keratosis, major appearance of wrinkles, there's lot of discoloration, telangiectasia, there's lot of blemishes, lot of face age spot seen, and there can also be mild sagging. So you need to always wear makeup here to hide this. The fourth is the severe type of photoaging, which is seen between 60 to 75 years of age, where there is a lot of keratosis, deep wrinkles, severe type of acne scars, and skin laxity is also seen. You need to have where the makeup can be caked up. Now, also there are skin types according to the skin textures, which we all mostly know, which is the normal skin, the dry skin, the sensitive skin, the oily skin, the combination skin, and the specific cases. In specific cases we say the Irish, Oriental, Asian, or Afro-Caribbean skins. Now, determining the skin type. While the state of the skin looks good or bad, it has much to do with the hereditary, hormones, and the lifestyle. Keeping it hygienic, clean, protected also plays a vital part in maintaining the surface of the epidermis to look younger and having a very longing good skin effect. Now, the human body is made up of 70% of water, which we know, and that 15% is stored in the dermis. The outermost layer of the skin, the part we see, which is the epidermis, the part of the skin care and the beauty products work on, depends for its youthful look, the resiliency, and the constant supply of water from the dermis, which is the lower layer, and its ability to retain in the epidermis, the epidermis ability to retain water without losing too much through evaporation. This all adds up to the texture of the skin. There has to be a little sebum or fat secretion of the sebaceous gland, sweat and water evaporation, to form a little slightly acidic protective emulsion called the hydrolipidic film or the acid mantle, which help to prevent excessive evaporation of the water. If there is a bit of oily skin, there's less of water evaporation, so the skin is supple. Even normal skin can dry if you spend most of the time in the dry atmosphere outside, or mainly in the air conditioned buildings. So air conditioning is not actually good for your skin. Or you go through a long time through a cold temperature. All the hormonal changing conditions such as periods, pregnancy, menopause, and even the pills can throw out the natural balance of the skin. Other culprits can also be traveling by air, having a holiday in the hot sun. You are going on a drastic crash diet, and depriving your body of essential vitamins and nutrition, and you're using harsh methods of cleansing your face through soaps and detergents, or at all not cleansing it at all. So not keeping your skin clean also might affect the texture and the condition of the skin. Also, illness in a very minor has a very minor role that affects the condition of the skin. Over-the-counter medicaments can also change the texture of the skin. So you'll go over to the pharmacist, ask something to make your skin look better. He might give without having a proper knowledge, which can affect the skin condition. The sebum's output on the skin's natural moisture content diminishes as we grow older. So, your skin from suppleness and oily skin tends to lose its oiliness as we age.